Hello, this is Anthony with Copley. Today I was asked a question from a customer for how to make a move and monitor the current in CVM. When they hit a certain current threshold, they want to then retract in the other direction. So you can use a velocity move and then approach the barrier at a certain velocity, and then use a wait for parameter step to wait for the current to get to a certain value. When that happens, you can change the velocity to be in the negative direction, so you start retracting. So in the setup, I just have sequence 0 running on startup. So because of that, I use a wait for delay time here, and then just to let the drive power up, and then I make the move in the positive direction, and then I wait for the current to be 100 milliamps, so 0.1 amps. And then I'll go ahead and retract. So if I go ahead and start this, see we're moving the positive direction. So if I get the commanded velocity, you can see it's positive. That's in units of 0.1 encoder counts per second. So now if I put a little bit of force on the shaft, now I'm going in the other direction. So if I get the velocity again, you can see now it's negative. So yeah, we're going the other direction. And that's how you'd use CVM to accomplish this. Okay, the second way to do this is to use the current limiting. So you can configure current limiting as a fault if you'd like. So that's what we're going to do here. It's bit 10 of the latching fault status register, which is parameter A4. So to do that, all you have to do is set that bit 10. So if you go to your calculator and you look up bit 10, it's right here. So we're going to set it to hex 400. So we're going to do that here. Set R0X A7 is actually the mask. So it's the mask for the faults, and that's the bit that we're going to set because we want to monitor only that fault. So we did that in RAM with this R, so we're going to change that as well to F for flash. That way if we reset the drive, we still have that bit set. So on startup, we're going to wait for the drive to power up. Then we're going to set some current limits. So these are used in the I2T algorithm as coefficients. So it requires that each customer is going to have to play with this to get exactly the that current that they want to trip the fault on. So for this, these coefficients worked for me for my 100 milliamp limit. But for you, you're gonna have to play around with these and see just from testing. So you set these current limits, then you begin your jog in the positive direction. Then what this is doing is it's getting the fault status register and monitoring, trying to see when that fault happens. So you're going to AND it with the bit mask, and then you'll see if that bit is set. And then if not, then you're going to jump back to monitoring and getting that bit, right? So that's how that works. Once this bit is set, we're going to change the direction of the move. So this is the programmed velocity to F. We're going to go in the negative direction now to start retracting. So the drive right now is in a faulted state, so it's not moving anymore. All you have to do, so you can change the direction and then change the limits back to what they were. So these are my current limits before the move. And then we're going to wait for a second just for the drive to settle, and then we will go ahead and clear the fault. Once you clear this, you're going to set the latching fault status register to -1. Once you do that, all the fault condition will go away and it'll begin moving in the opposite direction. So we can go ahead and run this now, and we'll we'll see what happens. So we begin in the negative direction. So I'm going to start logging here, and then I'll apply some force. We get the fault, it goes away after a second, and now we're jogging in the positive direction. So if I go into CME and I collect that log file that I just took, we take a look at the current. The current for me looks like it tripped at about 800, at about 80 milliamps, so just under 100 milliamps. So yeah, that's what I mean when I say, this algorithm, you have to play around with the values, but yeah, that's another way of doing this in CVM. You may experience a faster response time because the firmware is using the I2T algorithm to trip that fault.